What's up guys, welcome to the very first tutorial of SvelteKit. Okay, so I got so many comments and even mails to create a course on SvelteKit. Please. So on your demand, here it is. We'll start from the basics concept of SvelteKit and head towards to advanced projects like creating a blog or web applications. Alright then, so first of all, what is SvelteKit? Well, basically SvelteKit is a framework for building websites with Svelte. And by the way, if you don't already know what Svelte is, then just watch this whole video and I'll tell you how you can learn Svelte in just 1 to 2 hours. And then you can easily follow along with this series as well. But in a nutshell, Svelte is a front-end JavaScript library for creating and managing user interfaces similar to React and Vue. Now SvelteKit builds on top of that and provides us with a framework to create a more full-stack website with routing, server-side rendering, and API, so on and so far. Now before, when SvelteKit was created, the way we did this was by using a framework called Swapper. So SvelteKit is like the updated, upgraded and more unified version of Swapper. So SvelteKit is to Svelte is what Next.js to React or what Next.js is to Vue. So whereas Svelte itself focuses just on the client-side rendering and the updating of the UI in the browser, just like React or Vue, instead SvelteKit adopts a combination of server-side rendering and client-side rendering to build really quick high-performance dynamic websites similar to how Next and Next work with React and Vue. Now there's a few benefits of using SvelteKit to build a website rather than just using Svelte on its own. First, like I already mentioned, it utilizes server-side rendering as well as client-side rendering in the browser. And that means that our initial request to the server for the website returns a fully rendered HTML page. And that in turn is better for SEO because it allows crawler to read the full page content. Second, SvelteKit comes with a routing system fully baked into it, making it really easy to set up multiple pages and routes. Third, it allows us to build a custom API for the backend which we can hit from the front end of the website. And finally, it uses something called code splitting to only serve the code that we need at any moment in time, making the page response times quicker. Aside from those, there's also a few extra nice features such as prefetching and layouts that we are going to take a look at later on as well. So these are all things you would expect from a modern web framework, and they are similar features to other frameworks that I mentioned like Next and Next. Now when you work with something like React or Vue or Svelte to create a web app, the final product that's created is what's known as a single page application, or SPA for short. That means that only one HTML page is ever sent to the browser, and it would be a blank HTML page with no content on it whatsoever. And then inside the browser, Svelte or whatever else you are using renders components and content so that we can see them. So all the rendering of components is done only in the browser of the clients. But when we work with SvelteKit, we have a combination of client-side rendering in the browser and also server-side rendering as well. So when we make an initial request to the server, instead of it sending back a blank HTML page, it sends back a pre-rendered HTML page fully built. So in this case, the initial rendering is done on the server and not in the browser. And that is much better for site crawlers and search engines. So our HTML page that arrives in the browser is already full of content. And then from that point onwards, our application behaves more like a single page application. When we navigate around to different pages on the site, we don't send extra requests for extra HTML pages. Instead, Svelte intercepts requests to new pages. So SvelteKit basically takes the idea of a single page application and enhances it to include server-side rendering and a routing system to load in different page components. And again, SvelteKit also allows us to build a custom API for any server-side logic that we can then interact with from the front end of our application. Now in addition to all of that, SvelteKit's built on top of something called Vite, which is front-end tool that builds our code and pulls it all into the browser. And it also provides us with a development server with hot module replacement. And that essentially means that we'll get live updates in the browser when we are changing our code and previewing it. So in this series, then you are going to learn all the basics of SvelteKit first of all. And then we are going to build a simple website called Anime Shows Review with a few different pages. So that, my friends, that's your introduction to SvelteKit. Next up, we are going to create a brand new SvelteKit application. So if you want to learn Svelte framework basics, then you can click on right video on the screen. And if your basics are clear and you want to cover advanced Svelte, then click on the left video on the screen. And if you don't want to watch full course of Svelte in one go, then you can also check out my Svelte playlist. I'll leave a link of that playlist in the description below. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, and please do not forget to share, subscribe and like this video. That really helps a lot. And I'm going to see you guys in the very next video.